Your home should support your life, not drain it. I'm Katie Trudeau, and this is the Whole Home Living Podcast. Here, we talk about simple, plant-forward eating, realistic rhythms, and small systems that help your home work with you, not against you. No perfection, no pressure, just practical shifts that make everyday life feel lighter, calmer, and more nourishing. Let's get into today's episode. Hey there. We're going to shift gears a little bit from our past few weeks of topics, and this week we're going to focus on your heart. February is American Heart Month, and today I want to talk about heart health in a way that feels empowering, not scary, not clinical, and definitely not overwhelming. Because here's the thing, heart health isn't something we suddenly deal with later in life. It's shaped every single day by what we eat, how we live, and how even our homes support those choices. So let's talk about the facts, and we're going to really get grounded in reality here. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States for both men and women. According to the American Heart Association, nearly 1 in 5 deaths in the U.S. is due to cardiovascular disease. Up to 80% of heart disease is preventable through lifestyle factors. So it's kind of like wrap our minds around those two facts. So that means that diet, movement, sleep, and stress management play a much larger role than genetics alone. And that last point, it matters more than you might think. Because while genetics can influence risk, they don't determine your outcome. Your daily habits do, and they matter a whole lot more than most people realize. One of the most common things I hear is heart disease runs in my family, so there's not much I can do. However, long-term population research tells a very different and a much more hopeful story. When researchers study populations with the lowest rates of heart disease, they don't find perfect genes. What they see is a shared lifestyle. They see diets centered around whole, minimally processed plant foods. They see high fiber intake from vegetables, legumes, and whole grains. They see minimal reliance on ultra-processed foods. They see daily movement that's built into their normal life. And the researchers also see lower chronic stress and stronger social connections. These patterns show up consistently, especially in the blue zones where people live some of the longest, healthiest lives in the world. In these communities, about 90 to 95% of calories come from plants. Meat is eaten very sparingly, often just a few times per month, if that. And beans and lentils are everyday staples. Again, this isn't about having a strict all or nothing diet. This is plant-forward living as a foundation for heart health. And that's something you can start building today. All right, now we're going to shift into what the science says about food and the heart. We're going to talk about what actually affects your heart on a biological level. First up, fiber. High fiber diets are consistently associated with lower LDL cholesterol. LDL is the bad cholesterol. High fiber diets are consistently associated with better blood sugar regulation, reduced inflammation, and improved gut health, which directly impacts your heart health. And yet, most Americans consume less than half the recommended daily fiber intake. As of, I want to say 2 weeks ago, I looked up that stat. It was 7% of Americans reach their fiber intake each day. That is the overwhelming majority of people do not get enough fiber. The good news is that whole plant foods naturally increase fiber, and so you don't have to track it. You don't have to take fiber supplements. It's easy to get your fiber requirements from food alone. The recommendation is about 14 grams for every 1,000 calories you eat. So roughly that's about 30 grams of fiber per day, which is very easy to get through whole foods. On the flip side, diets high in ultra-processed foods are linked to higher rates of heart disease and stroke, increased inflammation in your body, and insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction. Again, lots of studies showing this. These foods are typically loaded with refined sugars, refined oils, sodium, and additives. And here's the kicker: these foods don't usually satisfy hunger. Think about how easy it is to eat a bag of chips or cookies and you don't feel satisfied. You're still hungry. And this connects directly to what we've been talking about in recent episodes. Ultra processed foods drive overeating, not because of a lack of willpower, but because they're low in satiety. This creates blood sugar swings and ongoing stress on your body, including your heart. All right, so what about meat, dairy, and saturated fat? This is where nuance matters. Research consistently shows that processed meats like bacon, hot dogs, and deli meat increase cardiovascular risk. Also, the World Health Organization has listed processed meats like these as a group 1 carcinogen. That means they are known to cause cancer. So that's again, hot dogs, any meat that is cured. So apart from being a group 1 carcinogen, they also increase cardiovascular risk. Research also shows that diets lower in saturated fat from animal sources improve heart markers for many people. So again, diets lower in saturated fat from animal protein can improve heart markers. And plant-based fats like olive oil, nuts, seeds, avocados, those are all associated with better heart outcomes. This doesn't mean that everyone must eliminate all animal foods immediately, entirely, but it does support a very simple principle. Plants work best as the foundation of your plate, not just a side dish. So if that's one takeaway you get from this podcast today, that is amazing. Start thinking about your plants as the foundation of your plate, not just the side dish. And we're going to jump off of that point into the next point, is that your home shapes your heart health as well. So beyond your plate, your home can affect your heart. Heart health doesn't begin with a diagnosis. It just begins with your daily routines, and your home plays a bigger role than most people realize. Your environment influences what you eat when you're tired, how often convenience foods become the default, your stress levels, your sleep quality, opportunities for movement and connection. And when your home is designed for convenience over true, real nourishment, your heart experiences ongoing strain. But when your home is set up intentionally, whole foods become the default. Meals require less effort. Just look back at our last episode where we talked about 20 ingredients in your pantry that can make healthy meals easy. When your home is set up intentionally, your stress decreases and healthy choices become easy and they become automatic. And that's the heart of the whole home living approach. You can improve your heart health as a family. And that's the thing, is that heart health isn't an individual project. It's a family pattern. When families make changes together, those changes stick. They're more sustainable and far less stressful. So here's a couple ways that you can support heart health as a family this February for American Heart Month. You can cook and eat more meals together, even simple ones. Simple is good. Simple is underrated. Make plant-forward meals the default while allowing for flexibility. Take family walks after dinner or on weekends. Reduce the ultra-processed snacks in your house. If you recall from the last episode, I told a little story about how my husband says that he has no problem saying no to a snack when it's still in the grocery store. But as soon as the snack comes home, it's harder to say no. So if you can reduce the ultra-processed snacks in your house, it is easier for you to say no to them. You could also support heart health by prioritizing sleep routines for kids and adults alike. Your body, and especially your heart, need good sleep each night. And another thing is, if you have kids in the home, kids don't learn about heart health from lectures. I mean, they can, but what's even more powerful is when they learn it from what feels normal at home, when everything is just modeled and it becomes just part of the daily routine. It is time for our weekly challenge. Just as in our past few episodes, we're ending with a challenge. And this challenge is going to focus on small, science-backed shifts that matter. And that's the thing. You don't need a dramatic change to protect your heart. So from this list, think about what you would like to add to your home routine to support heart health. Whether that's adding beans to meals several times per week, increasing your vegetable variety and color, again, fiber, choosing whole grains more often than refined grains, reducing the ultra-processed snacks in your pantry, moving your body more. Current recommendation from the American Heart Association is 150 minutes of exercise per week, although there is additional research that says even more than that provides additional benefits. In a future episode, we'll break down all of the benefits of exercise, but one takeaway here is just is there any way to add more movement to your daily routine? Another focus area is to manage stress, prioritize sleep, or focus on designing your pantry to support more nourishing choices. So think about one of those research-backed shifts that you would like to incorporate and consider adding that to your weekly routine. Now, this American Heart Month, I don't want you walking away from any of this afraid. I want you walking away from this episode feeling empowered. And again, to repeat from earlier, your genetics matter, but they're not the whole story. Your daily choices matter, and your home can be one of the most powerful tools you have for protecting your heart. Heart health doesn't start later, it starts at home. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week. If today's episode was helpful, take a moment to share it with someone who could use a little more ease around food and home. You can also leave a review. It helps more families find whole home living. For simple resources, practical tools, and upcoming workshops, visit wholehomeliving365.com. And remember, eating well doesn't require perfection. It just needs a system that works with your life. I'm Katie Trudeau. See you next time.